Thank you very much, Harry. And okay, at this point, I would like to ask all the speakers to turn on their cameras, and let's try to have a discussion. For the participants, please remember to use the chat box to ask your questions. I see already one question for the HexaX project. Let me start, first of all, indeed, with the HexaX project, the first presentation with Miko. Miko, you have done a lot of work, quite successfully also from HexaX1, and you are continuing now with HexaX2 about use cases, KPIs, KVIs, etc. Have you seen any major differences with similar activities from other regions? I mean, the States, China, Japan, Korea, they are doing similar activities. So you think that what we are doing in Europe differs in some aspects or not?
Yes, we have been having interaction with other major areas working on 6G from Asia, from North Americas, and have been doing some comparison. For example, in the context of the ICT 52 workshop last month, which recordings and materials are largely available from our website. And to then go to answering your question, so I think that there is quite much convergence on wide scale, quite similar approaches. There is different types of weighting of different things, like for example, in Japan, there is more interest in disaster recovery, and there are some local differences, like from the Next G Alliance, they were emphasizing more maybe personalized experiences. One area where there is then maybe more fundamental difference, however, is the timeline and the process towards sustainability. So certainly that is something which is respected by all, but then like the ambition level and the timeline. So in Europe, we are then among those having the most ambitious timeline there.
That's good to know. Okay, we have a question from Rafael. In Work Package 1, I think the activity about economic impact is very interesting. Are you going to produce an economic impact analysis for 6G? Example value for verticals, impact on the EU GDP, and these kind of things?
We are working on this domain, and from the current HexaX project, from deliverable D1.2, one can find some material on economic aspects of 6G already. And then in the current HexaX project, there will be new version of that document, deliverable D1.4, coming out this year summer. And then in the current ramping up HexaX2 project, we are working on the economic sustainability from that perspective, but also looking at the ecosystem and trying to kind of grasp these main elements in this space as well. But as our scope is so wide, so the overall effort, despite being a big project, the overall effort we are able to spend in this domain is, however, relatively small, but we try to focus on the most important questions there.
Okay, thank you. And one last question from my side. We have several projects that have started already. I mean, in total, we have 35 projects. HexaX2 has a central point in Stream B, but also in collaboration with all the other projects, collecting the solutions or feeding back about KPIs and KVIs. So what I'm trying to say is that there is going to be a lot of interaction between the HexaX and the other projects. How do you plan to achieve such collaboration? Because we have a significant number of projects.
Yeah, in the presentation I had some material on this, and this is very good to highlight further because it certainly is a very central part of like how to get added value as we are a set of many projects. And yeah, in this domain from the current HexaX project. In these work package 1 deliverables 1.2, 1.3, there is already available related material. 1.4 comes out this year, summer, at the end of the project. And then on this drivers and goals for 6G, the current HexaX2 ramping up project is getting something out mid this year. And on use cases update in 11 months from now, so beginning of next year. And we are very much welcoming all input from any projects on any of the areas. We are in the working groups. We organize some workshops and other sessions, like we have made a proposal for EU CNC workshop to facilitate further this kind of interaction.
That's perfect. And Pablo, if I'm not mistaken, I mean, we have the CSA projects, and at the same time, we will build the working groups, and together with the flagship, that could be one way forward.
Absolutely, Alex.
Okay, then let's move on to Stream C projects for the time being. And if you have any other question for Miko, just write it on the text. Now, for Stream C projects, very ambitious projects, building all these platforms. One first question would be about the energy consumption. I mean, there are a number of KPIs and KVIs that we want to improve in 6G networks. And I've seen from, if I'm not mistaken, from the 6G sandbox that there are activities to improve the energy consumption. Is this going to be the case for all three of the projects? I don't know who would like to take this question.
You mentioned sandbox. Our initial idea is on the devices. So the initial focus is saving energy in the user devices, because we have the equipment to measure and to monitor and so on. This is a starting point. We don't discard the other points in the network. This is the initial approach.
Okay.
Yeah, if I may continue. In 6GXR, we are already including as one work package this base station energy consumption and sustainable base station concept by itself. But to support this 6GXR project, we applied and were successful in getting a national project where we plan to instrument all our national VTT and our test beds so that we can measure each component within the network, how much joules per bit each component is going to consume. And this is the preliminary information to start then figuring out the ways how to decrease the energy consumption in each of these components, and then start to look where to place different computing, for instance, where it would use the least energy. And these kind of things can then be optimized, given that we first understand where the energy is consumed.
Thank you.
From our side, we improve. There's no direct KPI in our project for energy efficiency, but indirect, we improve the spectral efficiency using cell-free, and this can contribute to the energy saving. And also with the RIS, we extend the coverage of the transmission. So for longer coverage, we should transmit with lower power, so we improve the energy efficiency.
Okay, I think this makes sense. Also, I've seen in different detail, I mean, that's normal and to be expected, presentation from your projects about the openness and the level of modularity and how you're going to support openness. Now, this can be also translated into the APIs that are going to be used in an open way. So could you elaborate a little bit on this, how you see that you can support this? Plus, if you see any potential contribution to standardization from what you are going to learn from your testbeds. So, Christo, let's start with you.
Yes, we have open APIs based all of them on most of them on open. So it will be easy for everyone to access to our testbeds and replicate some of these ideas that we have. Standardization, yes. We have this cloud continuum. We have the potential contribution to the edge standards. with this RIS innovation and the APIs for interconnecting the RIS with the open air interface, and also this open RU is also very innovative. That can conduct some activities to the open run. It will be the first time that someone can run experiments in the RU.
Okay, nice. Pedro?
Yes, okay. Regarding reusability of everything in the project, the trial net was for us is the way of reuse, but we plan also to have all the software as a library. The 6G library will be a number of components to be exposed to the others. We plan to have also the experiments, the templates, and the KPIs, all these things, so, and the APIs. So by design, let's say the project is oriented to be everything open reusable. Regarding standardization, the ambitions regarding wireless in particular, exposing the RIS, potentially also something on computing and communication and sensing together. These are areas where we can impact in standardization. Plus, following the work we did in ICT 17 with the other projects regarding methodologies and tools for KPI and KPI processing. We had the document in ETSI coming from ICT 17. It was led by FAGIF, but then later with the others. I think in this area, Sandbox is also interested in leading some activity.
That would be perfect to see some continuity there. Indeed, it was a nice achievement, this contribution to ETSI. Indeed. Ari, what about XR?
Well, at least the platforms in North, I can speak for them, they are or have been freely usable since the inception of the platforms in 2015. Obviously, the fact is that if we need to start doing major changes into the networks, then we need a project to fund these changes. But as the networks, as they are free to use for everybody. It's a national public funding mostly, so the rules come from there. And so they are open to be used. The Federation technologies that we currently have, they come from earlier 5G drones program. But we are also a Finnish nodehead in Slice's research infrastructure endeavor under the S3 research infrastructure platform, and there they are planning rather well-developed Federation technologies for outside experimenters, and those will be deployed as soon as we have those finalized and ready. So that gives us an opportunity for the Federation. But we must remember when we talk about wireless testbed that if you have a user device or service which you want to test, so that the device under test or the service under test, they all need to be within the coverage area of the wireless network. So there's always hands-on component when you start deploying wireless experimentation.
Okay, thank you. And there is a question from Christos. Are StreamC projects plan to expand to other geographic locations with the new testbeds through the Cascade funding? So all three projects, you have the 20% of the budget for Cascade funding. Do you think it's possible to further extend geographic coverage of these testbeds? Let's start with Pedro. I don't know.
Okay. We have the money for three objectives. One is technologies. We need more 6G technologies. This is from StreamG mainly. Experiments in sense of use cases and so on. But we also considering more sites. The question is what we can pay, what is eligible, because we cannot pay for a new site in terms of full equipment. This means a lot of investment, depreciation on the costs, and a number of things. So what we are considering is if you have a platform and most of the, let's say, hardware and software components are paid by you, what we will consider in the open call is the effort to join your platform to our ecosystem to deploy the 6G Sandbox framework on top of your platform to become part of the, let's say, facility. This is something that, yes, we are considering in the open calls.
Okay. Ari?
I would say that the answer would be rather similar. I mean, we haven't really discussed within the consortium yet whether 60,000 euros would be sufficient for interlinking a couple of platforms. It might be, and if so, then if it's according to the rules, why not?
Okay, thank you. And Christo?
As a first approximation, there is no provision for new platforms in our open calls in the proposal, but if they can combine, although it's very easy to plug a new platform in our federation facility, if they consider to bring the platform with a vertical, let's say, and test the vertical through our facility in their platform, yes. But the budget is the budget that we have is 60K per beneficiary.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
This is driven by the call, not followed by us.
Yes, I see what you are saying. There are some details there about cascade funding, but in any case, let me ask the following. So what are you looking for from these open calls for your projects? Let's start, Christo, with you. So yes, it's the case. So what are you looking for at the end from
I explained in my presentation in the first open call, proposal for covering device and components via ORAN, XAPS, compute continuum, leveraging the UE farms, and novel XI modules, explainable AI. But some more algorithmic-oriented solutions are welcome that will go and work with a testbed locally without using the facility. In the second call, we expect verticals. Test your application, your vertical, over the whole facility. Facility, the two testbeds, plug your vertical in our facility and run it in one of the testbeds.
And you will try to see what would be the purpose of integrating the verticals? Further extension to the APIs, try to identify their needs in the best way?
I think performance evaluation of the 6G technologies, because we have cell-free and RIS. I think checking the performance evaluation of this new breakthrough 6G technology is very important with typical verticals.
Okay.
New verticals, whatever.
Yeah. Thanks, Christo. Ari, what are you looking for these open calls?
Well, anything that we have missing. So we are taking very opportunistic view. So if we develop these new novel use cases like holographic communications, we may come face to face with the situation that, hey, we need certain XR enabler that actually doesn't exist. That we can then offer as an open call tool. So that's one approach to the problem, to come up with that. Then in general, we offer these XR enablers, computing enablers, run enablers, then Stream B projects, if they have something that they want to test with the 60,000 euros, that is quite all right. And then there are these vertical replicability enablers. So looking at what kind of a vertical demos could be done with these existing tools that we have in this platform. But I have a counter question, which basically could go to even up to the European Commission. What if in the open call we come up with a situation where let's say, 3 SMEs form a consortium and they want to offer us 3 small projects as a consortium? So can this kind of game be played? I mean, not now, but if you could some point take and look at this question.
To say here, of course, that the open call rules are clearly mentioned in the description of action. So during the GAP phase, you were, let's say, responsible to write all the eligibility criteria and everything in the description of action, in the grant agreement, of course. But indeed, we have some flexibility to see together. We have some rules, so let's try to see together with all projects some specificities that you may need or something else in the context of the open calls. So again, we cannot. There are some rules that we have to follow. We cannot fully be outside the Horizon Europe rules in some areas, so we need to make sure that these values are always respected.
Sure.
But let's see the specificities of each project in a different context and according to what you have already written in the grant agreement in the specific section on FSTP.
Yeah, this came up in our kickoff meeting in the sense that, okay, if we have a company providing tools for energy measurements, those tools are fine, but then you need to somehow be able to figure out the data rates to which these energy numbers are actually referring to. And there's another company providing tool which can measure at any point of network the data rates. And now you combine these two, you get basically a solution which is meaningful in ICT networks for energy consumption.
As long as the selection procedure is clearly mentioned, I don't think you have a problem. But let's see again the details with your POs. Please, all the projects that have open calls and have open questions, please discuss with your POs. They will help you, they will guide you in the process. That's a message.
Thank you very much.
For all Stream C, all Stream C and all Stream D projects that have open calls.
Okay, then because time is pressing, Pedro, your
yes, your message. I would say, like Ari, not what is missing, but what is available. So we would like to get anything that could be called towards 6G in terms of technology, mainly regarding Open RAN or beyond Open RAN solutions, satellite plus 5G. This is something we are looking for now, and digital twins technologies for the network, not only the devices, but making some digital twinning in the network, including new sites, as your previous question, providing that these new sites are providing these technologies on site. And maybe they are not moving to our current platforms, but they are connecting to our current platforms. And we are writing now the open call, so we still don't have the full list.
And we will try also to help you from the CSA projects and from the City Industry Association and the SNS office to, collect all the information about the open calls, because there is a substantial amount of money and opportunities for newcomers. So we will try to coordinate all these activities. Let me close now with going back to Miko and asking the following. Miko, are you going to monitor also the activities in Stream C and Stream D projects? And also, I would like your take on standardization opportunities. I know that there was the EDGE event a few days ago. So what do you think? Do you think
So certainly we are interested in input from any of the streams. So if from your point of view you recognize possibility for you to impact with your content, so yes, we are happy to receive. Then with respect to standardization, so yes, there is already some work that has been inspired, for example, by the ongoing HexaX project. Like in EDGE, there has been some new beginning activities, for example, in the sub-terahertz domain. And then we have been working with ITU related process in preparation for WRC. And then the 3GPP work on the SA1 and SA domain is gradually getting speed and need to be following that. The 3GPP technical specification is then mainly or is ramping up after the HexaX2 has finished in 2.5 years from now.
So it seems that we have a lot of work ahead of us. With this, I would like to thank you all for this first session. We will have a small break right now. We will start at 10 to 2 o'clock. So thank you very much, and we will be back in 5 minutes, essentially. Thank you.